Okay. We'll go ahead and get this started. Looks like I got the delay down. Only about 8 seconds. That's way better. Camera's frozen. Let's see. Hmm. There we go. Alright, I'll just have to keep an eye on that in case it cuts out again. Which it looks like it... Nope, it didn't. Alright. Okay, so next I'm going to need to... I guess let's get the well darkened. Because looking at it now, I definitely want it to be a lot darker. So... we're gonna jump right in and just cheat and give it a wash. Actually, I need a little bit more than that. All right. is not working. Okay. See how this looks at the base here first, before we go too far. I think that's going to provide a good effect. Oh, so much better. And we'll actually probably just kind of catch everything right now. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna wait on that because this... Actually, no. I am gonna do that right now because we're starting to get to the point where we can start actually finalizing some things. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just kind of trying to get it all into the recesses here. That's going to allow me to get those shadows. Normally I use washes that are more black, but I want to create some age and grime to it. So I'm using a brown one. I'm going to skip those stones though, because I would like those stones to look different. And I probably will put more layers of this on later, so I don't want to completely smother it just yet. I can always do that later. This is going to give it a more kind of dark, natural look. I don't want to get in here, but I do want to be careful because I don't want to touch her legs or her feet. I'm sure she wouldn't like that. All right. So I am going to grab a little bit more of a detail brush to get into some of these harder to reach places. And the way washes work is pretty much what you see is what you get. So if it looks like it's pooling wrong and making the shadows look a little weird, you can always adjust it and move it around. You just have to be careful, as when it starts to dry, it can create smudging sometimes. Might as well get this little pale too. This side needs a little bit more. Get that inside a little bit as well. There we go. That gives it a nice dirty effect. Much better, for sure. Alright, let's see what we can do next. Let's do some fun stuff. I think I'm going to start working on her skin and her back. Start making the details really come out. So I'm going to need probably a purple, a bit of a red, I think. Yeah, and I think that'll be a good start. Let's fix this light too. There we go. There, that's a lot better. Yeah, let me get a red and a purple that will work good. And I'm thinking something like this. And this will be for the joints and stuff, kind of give it more of a swollen look. And actually, instead of grabbing a straight up purple, I think I'm going to do something like a purple wash instead, so that it's more subtle and more just tints the skin. If I do a speed paint, I think it'll be too harsh, and I don't think it'll give me the effect I want. I also need something for her nails, so I think we're going to do bony matter, which is going to be a bone-like tone, which we're going to get it ready with a white. And I think that should get us pretty good distance. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Hey, what's up, Fadden? How you doing, buddy? I brought my delay down to 10 seconds, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, let's start with the purple tone. How's the music for the audio? That's good, man. I don't know if the music's too loud or too quiet. Move these paints out of the way. Okay, so it probably a little louder then. I'm gonna try it a little louder. Just let me know if you can actually hear it, because I want it to be heard, but I don't want it to be overriding my voice, of course. So let's go ahead and get this actual... Yeah, that should work just fine. Let's just do it. It can't hurt us unless if we do it. And we're going to start off kind of subtle, just kind of hitting the joint areas. Anywhere that looks like it might have some chafing or stress. Probably just get her feet. The knuckles for sure. And this can be very faint, but we can always bring it up later. And this is a wash, so it's going to set in the recesses. I forgot we were doing just the knuckles for now. Got a little excited. Started covering the whole hand. We don't want that. Not yet. I'm just going to kind of give her whole arm a little bit of a pass over. I definitely want it to go... Actually, we're not going to do the whole arm. We're gonna just kind of highlight these little scratch-looking marks on her arm, because I would like to play with those a bit. We'll do some on here, just a little purple, just to bring out that as well. Some bruising. Let's get this. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting some moss and stuff back here. Once I get these some of these details on her arms and stuff brought out, because that's going to just bring the model to the next level. I'm going to come back and start doing more of the grass area and all that, because that's going to add a lot more color to it. That's the big thing. I'm trying to add as much color as possible, because while I like to keep things muted and kind of like, you know, dark and eerie, I do want to bring out a lot of colors and details. It's looking pretty decent right now. Gotta get right here too. She's got some muscle definition right here, and I would like to show it off. Frost or ice? I might be able to make sort of like a cold effect underneath directly, and kind of like it's almost like her touching the environment is freezing. I could do something like that. I plan on making it a little wet, so I mean, with her being a wraith and specter type of deal, I could definitely get away with some good icy effects. So yeah, we can definitely do that. That'll be really easy to fit that in. Let's... Actually, I need to move this over here. That's my little marker showing where my stuff needs to set. Exactly, like a frost touch. Almost like she is really cold, and everything around her that she's touching is freezing a bit. I need to actually get my wet palette. 1 second. Okay. Everything I'm going to be painting is going to be something that is going to be upcoming. So it's kind of like a teaser of sorts. And once I get rolling pretty good, I do have a little bit of a pre-story kind of crafted up that I can go through, so that might be fun as well. We're probably going to need more white. Might as well just put a bit more on there. Get some water. I haven't used this for a second, so it's kind of dry. There we go. That's way better. I'm absolutely not on the fence. I'm going to be getting a 3D printer soon, and I'm going to start printing them, and I'm going to start painting them on here probably as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I got a bunch of Dark Souls stuff I'm going to be painting. I bought the Kickstarter back in the day. So once I get a couple monsters under the old belt, I'm going to be jumping into that for sure. Looks like I missed this spot right here. No, I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff. And once I start getting enough of my models that I have to do out of the way, I can start lining up models and asking what people think I should paint next and stuff. So that'll be really exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and get her nails and stuff right now because I want to play with those later. And the funny thing about some of these models is it may not be clear where stuff starts and how it ends, so you just gotta kind of make it up. But she's a trooper, I mean. Seeing as I don't really paint nails very often, you know, like, pretty brave trusting me to do this for her. She seems like a bit of a risk taker, though. I mean, she did, you know, jump in the well as sort of a way to try to find a perfect way to rehydrate her skin completely. I think she got a little bit more than she bargained for, though. Or maybe she just didn't set an alarm, because she definitely was down there a little too long. She is a risk taker, I would say. And I respect that, because I am as well. Heck yeah. Now that her fingers are painted, it makes it look like it sticks out a little bit more. I gotta fake something on this toe, because it makes it look like she only has 4 toes. And that would be rude to leave her with only 4 toes. There we go. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, so now that I got her fingernails out of the way, we can move on to maybe doing some more swollen effects on her knuckles. And I have a feeling this is going to be pretty intense. So I'm using the Moody Mauve now, which is going to be kind of a purplish, but I have a feeling it's going to be very strong. So I'm going to actually kind of break it down a little bit with some medium. And that's going to thin it out. And I actually, when I typically pull out the medium, I throw it into a few of my other wells to just kind of refresh them a little bit, because they dry up and they don't work as well. And I actually might have to put a bit more medium in there, because that is that's what I want, but that's a very strong stain. It's a little stronger than I want. No, exactly. And I might even have to... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create another well to really bring this down a bit. Yeah. That's more like it. I was a little scared of the intensity. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera a bit. I think we want more than that. There we go. Okay, that looks definitely like more what I'm trying to go for. And I can always darken it up. That's never a problem. Let's start with the most important part first before we even test it. The front hand. Let's see how this looks. Right over the... Let's just catch those knuckles right there. How do I make this camera clear? That's not it. Can I make it clear like this? I don't know. That's not showing up at all. I think we're gonna possibly go in the deep end over here and just... Yeah, let's just go in the deep end. 'Cause there we go. Little bit better. I think we hit the right spot. So definitely want to get in all these little joint areas. Get the knuckles. I like these cracks in the feet too. Let's bring those out a bit. I have a feeling that soaking your feet for this long probably doesn't feel too good. So, we're going to make it look like it doesn't feel too good. There we go. And I do want to catch this right here, just kind of along the lines to bring it out a bit, because I'm about to go ham on all that right there. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of going for, like almost like a bruised kind of... Actually, with the hypothermia, I might be able to pull in some black too. Maybe I'll make a... I don't know. Maybe I can make her feet like a little black. Like just the toes like coming up. We'll see. I'll hold off on it. I want to try some other things first, but I really like that idea. Excuse me. Get the insides here as well. Well, that's good for now. Yeah, that's good for now. And I am now going to come in. Wait, actually, I have to wait for it to dry. See, I got excited and I have to stop myself. Actually, we need to purple that up too, because that area is definitely going to be swollen. These little spots right here, I plan on making very, very raw. Actually, is that light too bright? Maybe that's why. I don't know why my camera focuses like that. It's kind of annoying. My camera keeps refocusing and I'm not sure why. Completely changes angles. I can't forget the neck. Mm-hmm. That's providing a nice effect. It's possible. The problem, let's see. Let's see. I just turned on HD resolution. Hopefully, it's still gonna change, I think, no matter what. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Maybe I can... Can I lock the model? It's not letting me like actually focus on anything specifically, so... Hello? Let's see. It's not going back to the other camera now. I don't know how to make it go back. Oh well. I'm sure it'll randomly change again. Just like that. And yeah, I have no idea how to turn off autofocus because the streaming is totally different than using the camera itself. So I'll have to probably download some software. Okay, so that's dry now. So we can go ahead and come in with the white that I already have down. And I want just a very, very tiny amount because I'm going to come in here and draw some white lines on her arms. And the point of this is I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat her up. I'm going to beat her up a lot. Because I just can't help myself. Oh, that's some ugly lines. And it's off the camera too, so you can't see how ugly it is. Yes, whips and chains. No, no, no. It's in a good way. Oh my goodness, that's such a terrible... How do I recover this? My brush is being very silly right now. There we go. There's some better line. I'm not super happy with this arm, but it's one of those things that... Oh wait, I gotta use a dark gray for that. That's fine. So we're also going to do some red in here. I don't want too much because I'd like it to look sort of kind of natural. Oh, come on, camera, stop being silly. This spot like right here looks really nasty. That's gonna be great. And then I think I'm gonna get away with a little bit of reddening in here. There we go. Sweet. And do I want anything else? Let's see how that looks first before I start going way too hard, because it might be too much. Ah. I've tried to come up with a better way to organize my paints. So I've got a little setup on the right that's just a mirror of the paints I have here. And it's working out pretty nicely. So I'm not confused at what every paint is every time I turn around. And then I end up using twice as much paint. Had some paint stuck to my brush. Alright, we are going to thin this down though, because I don't want this to be completely solid. All right. Let's get it done. So these are going to be cuts, and I'm hoping that the red will light up the white lines, and then I push outside of it a bit, and it should produce a good effect. And a combination with the purple should make it look like there's some bruising around it. I've done this for a few other models, and it usually provides a good effect. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. Oh, I got her hair a little bit. Easy fix. She just got her hair done yesterday. I'd be real rude if I messed it up already. And I plan on coming back with a varnish to make this shiny as well. Oh no. Ah, I love speed paints. If you're quick enough, you can get it right off. Ooh, that was a happy accident. I think we're gonna roll with that and let this pull into the sides a little bit. You don't need to see her skin. You got enough skin elsewhere. Yeah, that looks so much better. Let's just fill them up. Let's just fill up all the holes in her shirt. There we go. This arm looks really bad, though. I gots to say. This arm makes up for it. But this arm just looks like she has, like, stripes. Like she's like a tiger or something. And she's not a tiger. Oh, that's a lot of red. That's fine. Let's just break it up a little bit with a couple little extra dots on the side. There we go. I can fix anything given enough time and swearing. I've learned this the hard way. And I could just grab the blue that I used yesterday and just fix it up. Oh wait, I don't want this here, I want this over here. So yeah, we're gonna fix this up real quick. And I am going to bring my dry brush palette over here. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like softening what I've done. And then I'm going to come back over and just kind of redo it. So I'm not completely getting rid of it. But it's enough that I will be able to come back and do it again the right way. Okay. And we're actually just gonna make a little thing right here, because one thing I learned from my last stream is that my desk gets really messy really fast, and then I start forgetting where things are. And so we're just going to try to not do that this time. And I do agree. I'm going to do that because this one looks really good because they are at different angles and kind of like in different ways. Like some are like, you know, slanted like this, others are slanted the other way. And then you got some bigger ones. I'm actually going to come back for a lot of these bigger ones and throw an even darker ones. Oh, that's true. I could do something like that. Actually, let's get out. Let's break out the serious brush for that. I need to get my mount real quick. And how's the audio sounding? Is it glitching out like it was last time, or is it good this time? Always got to be serious. That's how you get stuff done. You haven't heard any music? There's no music playing? Guess I'll have to turn it up a bit. Because if Shelby can't hear it, that's a problem. I have to do everything I can to get Shelby to say, can you turn the music down? The music's really loud. Well, it just started again. So let me hear if you hear the eerie tones. All right. Let's see if I can get this set up. My dog whistle. I don't have a dog whistle. Man, this thing is... There we go. Can't really get this in a good spot to where it'll make it easier to see, but I can also see better. See, this is why we need testing. I'm gonna put this actually way to the side over here and hope it reaches. Because I don't want to mess with this thing for 10 hours. There we go. I wonder if I can... Oh, wow. I can. Look at that. Imagine if I just magnified my my thing. How's that? Does that work better? It's beautiful. Good, good, good. That's what I like to hear. So we're going to come in with an actual murder scene. So here's the red that we've been using, and here's the murder scene. So this is going to go on the inside to provide a sort of like second depth. because the way to get a good depth is to use multiple colors in the same kind of spectrum. So we're going to be doing blues. We've already done blues, then we came in and did purples, and now we're doing reds, multiple reds. So I'm just going to touch these wounds just in the middle. And what that's going to do is that's going to provide a sort of origin, let's say, mark to add more detail. It's hard to see for me. I'm going a little hard because I can't. There we go. I just got to look at the side. And that muted it a pretty decent amount, but these are supposed to look like old wounds, not something fresh. So it works out. Also, another tip is make sure you clean your brushes fairly often, because the paint dries in them even when you're using them. Of course, so what ends up happening is you end up either bleeding colors together, or you your brush starts getting hard, and then it doesn't paint right. I need to get my white. Okay, so now we're gonna do the wounds on this arm right here, and we do want to do them, as Fadden was suggesting, in a sort of a layer of zigzags, so to speak. So, see, it's hard to tell depth. I'm not used to using a magnifying glass, but it's making it to where it's easier to see. Gotta be quick. There we go. And that might be a little too slanted, but it's fine. And then let's come like that. Let's just straight up do an X right there. And actually, let's bring this to the next level. Give me 1 second. We're going to start heating things up a bit, because I remembered there's a way to add some serious detail that you can't get with just painting. And now this is probably going to get a little graphic. And this is how you really get some realistic looking cuts. Is you make actual cuts. And unfortunately, my blade's kind of cooling off a little faster than I'm used to. I usually use a solder tool, but I don't have that over here. And I don't feel like messing with it. Alright, I think I finally got it hot enough. It should go a lot quicker. Perfect. And it is kind of slight, but what's going to happen is that paint is going to settle in the recesses that I'm making with this, and it's going to provide it a whole extra layer. We just got 2 more to go, and then we can go into actually painting it. And this is kind of a pain, I'm not gonna lie. I think next time I'm going to just use my solder tool and find out a way to fix a sharper blade to it. Oh, wow. So right here, you might not be able to tell, but I accidentally slid the blade, and it actually made it look like the skin was peeling a little bit, which I absolutely love. So we're going to do that intentionally now on her arm somewhere. Where should I do it? Or maybe the leg. The legs don't have anything, but maybe I should keep it confined to the arms. I don't know. Or what if I did it around her ankles or something, like almost like maybe she was tied up by her feet and thrown into the well? And maybe she struggled down there a little bit and, you know, it caused a little damage on her legs. That might be pretty good. I think I might be able to actually paint some bone inside of her feet as well if I do that. We're going to do that. We're going to peel this up. We're just going to cut into her ankles and just kind of push it to the side. There we go. That looks beautiful. This is what you're here for. Yeah, exactly. There's going to be some exposed bone. It's not going to be dark. I'm going to make it light so that you can see. Here we go. Just going to pull that up to the side, and we're going to pull that down. You know what? I actually really like that idea a lot. I just need to get a piece of a sprue, I think. I think with a piece of a sprue, I'll be able to create a broken looking ankle. So I think I'm going to find a piece real quick and make that dream a reality. And I just moved all my stuff around, so I'm having a hard time finding exactly where I placed my sprues. Okay, I found them. Now, we just gotta find one that works. So I'm looking for something kind of long and thin. I might be able to shape this down. And it looks like that might be our best contender. Well, this one's got some interesting angles on it as well. And I don't want it to be too obnoxious. So let's go ahead and take that one. So we're going to make this into a piece of jagged bone. And I don't want to cut on my metal thing, so we're going to cut on this instead. And actually, I'm going to cut away a little bit more. Since this thing is really small, it makes it kind of hard to work with. And it's so hard that I might have to sand it down. But I'm hoping I don't have to. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, a full fracture in her leg. The only thing that might be difficult is getting her leg to do that kind of stuff. But I think if I separate it at the ankle, I think I might be able to get her to, you know, break a leg. Sorry, I was off a little bit. My dang camera turned off. Hold on. There we go. My phone timed out. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just get a sander real quick. Okay. So this is just a little piece from a nail salon. And I'm just trying to get it a little less sharp around the edges. It doesn't even have to be perfect. You're going to know exactly what it is as soon as you look at it. Everyone's going to know. So if it looks a little weird, it's just even better. And I do need it flat for where it glues. Man, this thing's hard to hold. You ever go to use a cheese grater and then it just like destroys your hand? And then you have to think to yourself, should I remake all the food, or should I risk feeding my guests blood? I don't know. Actually, I think our little friend, the knife, helps with the heating element. Make cutting a little easier. Man, this is popping up and doing all kinds of nonsense. There we go. Snap. And I don't want this to be straight. I would like this to be super messed up. So we're gonna just kind of cut into this a little bit, just in a couple spots, just to give it some texture. And where's that other piece? Is this it right here? This is probably it right here. Let's see. Nah, don't be nervous. I've done this a lot. A lot. All right, I need to get some glue real quick. Okay, we got glue, we got tweezers, we got all kinds of stuff. And now we're gonna bring this dream into a reality. Now, I've already got a really good foundation on this ankle right here, and I really don't need to change that. It already looks good as is. But this one, on the other hand, I think this one can do with a little adjustments. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna really heat up the knife again. Am I out of fuel? Nope. And so I'm just gonna kind of really gouge in there and kind of pull up on the fleshy flesh underneath. And we're going to go along this bone right here, because I want this bone to be what is broken. And we're going to come in kind of like this, like right between here. So that this part is what's split. And I really should go get my solder tool, as it makes it so much easier. Actually, I have to. This isn't working. Take me 2 seconds. I say it takes me 2 seconds until I forget that I organized my house. Well, unfortunately, I can't find it, and I don't feel like looking for it anymore. So we're just going to make it happen. And instead, I'm just going to have to gouge into it. And I'm just going to have to carve it up. So that's what we're going to do. There we go. That's a good little foundation. Took a little bit out of her leg, and now I just need to pop it in place. Or I guess technically make it look like it was popping out of place. So first of all, we need to see where this is going to set at and how it's going to look. So that is pretty much the size of what we need, but that is definitely bigger than her bone is. So we need to cut this down a little bit, and I'm gonna have to heat it up again. And we're just gonna pretty much cut this in half. There we go. That cuts way better when it's actually hot. Okay. And unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it down a little bit more. But I'm going to do it at a bit of an angle. Oh, sorry. And it's kind of hard to cut this without doing some nonsense, so I'm just going to kind of do it. Okay, so we got a little bit of stuff right here. So I'm just going to touch it with a little bit of glue on the inside right here and try not to touch my fingers because my fingers might get stuck together and then I'll be like that forever. And that looks like it might be a lot bigger than it should be. Oops. We're going to have to flip that around. Unfortunately, it's got glue all over it. This is why you should always dry fit your stuff first. Oh wait, maybe I grabbed the wrong part. I think I grabbed the wrong part. I think this is the piece I was trying to use. I think I'm gonna have to sand this down though. Yeah, I could. That is smart. I think I'm gonna try to sand it down just a little bit first and then do that. Sorry for the shaking. I'm trying to sand this piece down a little bit. And then we're going to do just that. We're going to melt it to it. So we're going to attack this from two different ways. First of all, I need my clamp. Let's just grab it right there. How about that? And then we have to turn it a little bit. There we go. Oh, wow. That is good to know. Wow. So when I melted it, it allowed me to kind of mold it however I wanted, and then it solidified in a couple of seconds. That opens up a lot of possibilities. But it didn't stick to it, so that is great. I might have to do this later. Let's see. I'll give it one more try with this bigger piece. Well, it definitely looks gross, which is what I wanted. So we're just gonna roll with that. Let me just clean it up just a little bit, but it definitely gave a good effect. Ah, dang it. So that is the one bad thing, is it does come right off, so I'm gonna have to glue that. But it did work very well, actually. And I definitely will be trying more stuff out later. All right, I'm gonna get my other clamp real quick, and then I'll be able to leave this alone while I do other things. Man, I need to get some accelerant. This stuff does not dry fast enough. I wonder. Man, this is one of those moments where I wish I had multiple hands. I think that it's gonna stay now, though. It looks like it finally dried enough to want to stick as I completely unpop it again. There we go. Just gotta move it up. Yeah, I definitely need some better glue. We're gonna melt this again. There we go. And we're just going to call that. We're going to leave that alone because it's beautiful. We're just going to leave that alone. So we don't need to hold this in place anymore. So that's what it kind of looks like. It's just some messed up flesh. I think it provides a pretty decent effect. And we're just going to paint it like bone. And it's just going to look like really messed up bone. Let me get this capped up real quick. Okay. And what should I do now? I guess paint. We need to get that red on there. And then layer that up with the moody mauve. Yeah, like this. Well, actually, we already did the moody mauve. So we'll just need this now. Okay. Now we're going to come in and we're going to finally... Come on, focus. Gotta remove these words. It likes to focus on words. Oh, I accidentally came off the camera a bit. Sorry about that. Oh, we're going to hold off on that just a little bit longer. Start painting some of these new things we made. That looks so good. Actually, don't even need to come through and do the white because the red just shows up so good without it. That's great. And actually, we can just probably jump right into this bad boy. And the best thing about this is you can go outside of it a bit. Oh, well, I didn't want to get there, but that's fine. And what it does is it kind of gives it almost an inflamed look. Yeah, that looks really good. Once that dries a little bit, I'm going to come back with the white, and then I'm going to come back with the bony matter, and that's going to give it a real great effect. Yeah, that's great. So what should we do next? Dude, I know. I'm feeling it as well. We're actually about to start moving into the Nurgling. So what do you think for the back? I'm thinking some pus for sure. Some blister looking dots. Probably some maggots. I definitely want maggots to be kind of like pulling at the neck and kind of falling out. I kind of need to come back with a brown and darken this up a little bit too. But that's a pretty good start, I think. And actually, okay, no, her leg's completely... I was going to pull her leg up and slide it to the side to make it broke, but I think that would be a lot of work. I think I would have to cut into the stone. That's something I probably would have wanted to do earlier. Yeah, she's on there. I was going to take her leg and push it under there, like, after I cut it, but I don't think it's going to work completely right. I think I'm going to have to do a lot of cleaning up if I do that. Oh, we got to do the back of her arm. Oh my goodness, how dare I? And I don't like actually how bright that white makes those cuts. So we're going to come in with a gray instead. Because when I cut into it, it created a darker color that actually worked out a lot better. So we're going to use that to our advantage and paint. Man, this... There we go. And we're going to paint using that as the base. And that's going to provide a darker look. Especially with it being up under here, we don't want this to be too bright anyways. So something like this that's a little darker will work perfectly. And we might not even need to, but I'm going to do it anyways for consistency's sake. There we go. Okay, so we do have to wait for that to dry for a bit. So let's bring some dark red back in there. I do like that. I might do that for water effects, but I don't... The maggots, I typically do them really tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And the melted plastic is a little bit hard to aim. Like, it definitely would work really good, but it's not perfect, and I need to mess with it a lot more. So once I get the technique of melting the plastic down, it definitely will be a good tool to add. I gotta fix this right here later. Oh, are you saying like almost like a pool of maggots is coming off? Like a bunch of maggots? Because that would make more sense. And that's probably what you were saying. Yeah, let's go ahead and give that a try. This looks like a decent piece. Actually, you know what? I probably should get a piece that I can actually hold. That would make more sense. Alrighty, where do we want it? On the side of the neck. This neck, I love the details here, but this is hidden. I think we're gonna go ahead and benefit from this neck detail. And we're going to just really run with it. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm carving into this neck right now. Because I'm going to do the melted plastic here as well. And I probably don't have to, but I'm going to. Okay. And let's go ahead and shave this down just a little bit to make it more precise, because I don't want too much at the base. Alrighty. Here we go. Let's go ahead and clip this in place. Oh, sorry, I touched my lens again. Annoying. Now we do want gravity to take effect, but I can always make gravity happen. Actually, I think I need a second clamp. Whoop. All right, let's do this. Clamp. Accidentally undid one, so now I gotta redo it. So sad. They're really nice until they come undone. My goodness. Imagine having to mess with this for longer than you want. My goodness gracious. Okay, I was literally about to say one clamp. This is why we can't have nice things. But it worked, thankfully. Alrighty. And now we've got a more... Oh, I gotta flip this around. There we go. Okay. And just like that. That is going to be an amazing goop effect. I'm not just going to make it come undone. Come on. Come on, please. Please. I don't want to cut it, because then if I cut it, it's going to be a sharp angle. So, we're just going to melt it. There we go. And now I'm going to fix it up. Get that little effect right there. And push it in. I need to round it out a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty dang decent. Alrighty. So that is going to be where the maggots and the pus is coming out. So now we just need some maggots and some pus. So we're going to do some Nurgle's Rot, one of my favorite paints. And what else? I want a nice gross yellow for the maggots, but I don't want to use something I've already used, because usually I use like the Howling Sand. But you know what? I might actually have to. It just makes too good of a maggot effect. I think I've stained everything else enough to work just fine. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're just going to just toss this on there and just call it. Where is my goop brush? Come here, goop brush. The snottier the better indeed. Here we go. We're just gonna get on in there. Hell yeah. And then while we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit more. And then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And I'm going to go ahead and start gooping up the rest of her. Because there's spots that I definitely wanted to add some of this infected pus effect. Okay. Yeah, it turned out really well. That was a good call. Love you for bringing that up. Because that was definitely a winner right there. We're just going to put a little bit into here, into the recesses. Just to make it look like it's all infected and gross. Because that's what we like to do. Here, I'm going to save the center because I do want to make it like a really deep looking. And some of these I might even come back and do like kind of a bone effect. Like right here, like oh my gosh, like I feel like I have to, oh it's all blurry, sorry. Right here I feel like I have to paint that white, man. Like I feel like I have to. So we're just going to skip and just do the edges. And back here, this one's going to be really, really goopy. Big patch like that. Big patch like that deserves a lot of attention. I'm just going to kind of lightly touch some of the bigger wounds because they would probably be pretty infected as well. Definitely need to get some around here. There we go. Exactly. And the best thing is you can never have too much. And with this in mind, I think I'm going to make this look like it's dripping down in there. Almost like it's actively coming down. And this is going to just bring the scene to life a little bit more. Make it feel more real. Like she just came out and just... She's just gooping all over the place and it's pooling around. And I'm going to be careful with her hair because I would love to do it, but I don't want to overdo it because then I got to do her beautiful hair all over again. Definitely need more in here. And I gotta come into this side right here. So hard to get over here. There we go, I did it. Yay. Yay. Oh yeah, I need to do the cuts on her arm. It's time to do those cuts. And these don't have to be as perfect since they are hidden behind here. But it's more of like, I just wouldn't feel right if I didn't do them. But since they're not in the front, I don't think I'm gonna come back with my hot knife and cut into them like I did with the front. Because that is a pain. A big pain. A paint. It's a paint in the ass. And we're done with this for now, so I'm going to put this away because it's got to dry. And once that dries, we're going to come back and we're going to do tiny little white dots. And we're going to start doing the maggot effects. Yeah. So let's get the, I have a really dark red that I just put somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. So this is going to be really dark. This is going to finish off a lot of these cuts. And it's going to add the last layer of detail that I need to really bring the line work in. It's almost like putting black into it. Because it's just so dark that even if they have shitty lines, it'll just look like it's perfect. And I might need to come back and re-pestilence it, because I do want this to be darker, for instance. I don't want it to look like it's, you know, barely on there. And I did leave a little bit of white in some of these spots, because I was planning to come back and paint them more. I plan on actually doing a varnish over a lot of these cuts as well to make them look more fresh. Even though they're not, I think it would be a very appealing result. can't forget this leg right here. Perfect. Gross. I love it. I gotta put a little extra here because there's a little extra white showing. And I don't feel like coming back with the blue. So instead, I'm just gonna cheat. I'm just gonna make it look a little bit more bloody than it actually is. There we go. That's looking pretty decent. She looks a lot like my troll. Honestly, it's like the same color scheme. Like almost entirely. So here's my troll. And she looks very similar in like how the cuts are. I think I'm doing a lot better job on these though. But yeah, she definitely is lining up a lot with the same effects. I just kind of noticed that and I laughed and I was like, yeah, we're just kind of doing the same thing. Blue is just kind of a, I don't know, color. It's a color, you know? It's a color that I typically don't lean towards. But I'm glad I am. So now we're going to paint the bone. Yeah, because that's dry. So I'm going to come in with this white. And I'm going to paint this bone white. And that's because I'm going to come back with a lighter color. And I'm going to make it look bony. And I'm just going to have to make it look like there was a bone here just by painting it a little bit. It doesn't matter really, but it'll make it look more clean. More like it was attached down here and now it's not. So I don't actually have to put anything there. No, the troll is actually just I took the color inspirations from Valheim because I was playing a lot of Valheim at the time. And so I made the troll blue to kind of line up with it. Because the trolls are blue in there. And then the whole, like, grass effects, the trolls in Valheim also have a similar effect. So I just kind of took a lot of inspiration from Valheim and ran with it, and it worked out really well. And I'm glad I did it. I'll put a little bit more white on here just to kind of make it nice and solid. Because I want it to be a one and done. I'm doing her nails a little bit again as well because I'm using this hand right here as a rest and I keep rubbing all the paint off. Which, thinking about it now, I probably will continue to do so. But whatever. At least I tried. And that's all that matters. And I realize I actually have to restart my playlist real quick. There we go. I started realizing that music wasn't the music I was intending. So we're going back. I think I might have to come back and redo this skull a little bit more. I don't know. It looks fine, actually. Nah, it looks fine. It looks fine. We're gonna leave it alone. How about that? I am gonna come and put some white on these stones again because I'm about to dry brush. Or not the stones, sorry, the dirt. Because I'm about to come back with a light brown. And I'm gonna want these to stand out. Because this area needs some depth. And then I might as well start doing a little bit of the moss effects as well. Yeah, I don't even know what it was, but it wasn't part of my playlist, so what happened was it started playing other random stuff, and we can't have that. It's not allowed. So I said I wasn't going to come through with white, but I do want to get a very sharp effect. Since I won't be using a knife to get into recesses, to create recesses, I'm going to make it more bold with a white line inside. And it's hard to see because it's kind of in a really bad spot. It's like way up in there. Way up in there. But I got it. And now we got to think about her face. I don't know what color to do her eye. She's got one eye right here. And I don't know what color I should do. Let's turn off this light. Because it's really bright. Actually, it kind of helps. Oh well. Yeah, she's got an eye right here, and I need to figure out what color I'm gonna do that. I'm thinking about just a nice black, because I don't want to do anything too crazy. So we might just do that. See what it looks like. Her lips, though. What color should I make her lips? What sounds like a nice lip color? Dark purple. You know what? I do actually need that light. Dark purple, huh? Need more paint. Too much paint. Perfect. Nice little black eye. And I'm going to give her 2 little pokies for her nose. Now, just enough to give her her nose back, because I totally covered that up. Alright, and then I need to do her... Actually, I gotta do the lips first. So, for the lips, if we're doing a frostbite darkish purple theme... Wait, I keep busting open the white, and I remembered I already had some over here. Alright, here we go. With the lips. And I figured they might be a little swollen as well. So I'm not really afraid to go outside the line too much, but I don't want to go too much. It's hard to get a nice focus. There we go. Oh. Alrighty. Woo. Thankfully, there's not much paint here, so I could probably easily just draw a little line, little black line, and call it good on that. Alrighty, let's get that line. Ooh, that is hard to do, but we did it. So what kind of purple are we thinking? We're thinking like a darker purple than her, like, colorations on her hands and stuff. Like a dark purple. I need to look up a picture. Huh. I thought about that as well. So I'm thinking we're going to do, I think this is too, I'm going to find a pinkish purple. Yeah, I'm going to get a pinkish purple, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with the Nurgle's Rot, and I'm going to do tiny little dots to make it look like her lips are infected. Like she's got sores on her lips. And I think that would provide a good subtle effect. So I'm kind of scared of how intense this paint is going to be. So I'm going to use some medium on it. But I have a feeling that it's going to be the same thing as last time. And I'm going to wish that I had more. But that's okay. We can run into that live. That is, that's a little, I don't know about that. Actually, that looks a lot better than I thought it was going to. Let's just do it. Like I said, I'm probably going to want a little bit more, and I do. And it's okay if our mouth looks messed up, because it can literally be meant to be. It was meant to be like that. So it looks pretty decent, actually. I'm very happy with it. It's a nice color. It shows up really well. You have a good night, Shelby. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the wounds probably are dried by now. And so is that bone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that bone real quick, because I'm excited to see what that's going to look like. And this is going to be more like an aged bone look, but that's fine. Now I'm going to have to totally clean that up. That's too much. Alrighty. That's a good effect. Nice brown. Now I just have to do one last thing for that, and I need to find my really, really angry red. I think that's it right there. It is. And I need to do the marrow for the bone here, or else it's not going to look right. There we go. And that's going to make it look like it really, like, legitimately broke off, which is what we want. Oh, I can actually focus by tapping on it too. That's cool. Good to know for the future. Okay. Oh, I got some Nurgle rot up here. Probably gonna look like a blend into the moss later anyways. So we're gonna go ahead and finish that line on the lips again. It's hard to see. There we go. Just touch it up a little bit. Make it look a little bit better. That's one reason I like doing monsters, man, is you get to do kind of whatever you want with them. You can really just throw it down on them. Layer the paints. Okay. So now we got that marrow busted open. We got the infection spreading around. I think let's throw some bony matter on her nails real quick. Just to kind of dirty them up a little bit, make them a little bit darker. That way they're not as sharp white. Perfect. And that makes it a little darker too, so her hands look more yellowed. Cool. Now let's do some white dots. It's time for some maggotry. So I want this to look like it's just got kind of maggots all in there. So we're just kind of dotting it all over. Maybe even like a couple on the pooling of the stuff to the side. Let's come in to the top. There we go. And some of this fresh. I just forgot I'm supposed to come in with the dark first. Let's do. Oh, almost pulled my brush out. Let me dry this real quick. I forgot I have to come in with this dark red first. So let's do that while I'm up here. Because if I don't, they're not going to look quite right. Just gotta finish up the wounds, basically. Got a lot of paint on here. I want to be careful. All right, there we go. And that's going to be bone. I did like that idea. So we're going to keep it that way. And I want to be careful with this because this is supposed to be more like dried blood. I know, right? No, that's the whole thing is you sitting there dropping them down and you're like, man, those kind of look like polka dots. But that's why you got to make them a little bit more sporadic. Make them little tiny lines. Because if you just do dots, it don't really work. And I did want to do that bone on the shoulder, so I'm going to go ahead and knock that out while I'm thinking about it. So I'm just going to come in here and just pop that shoulder right there. Boop. Yeah. Nope, I got her leg a little bit. Eh, it's fine. I'll just put some blue on it later. Or honestly, I could put some red there. I could do whatever I want. And while we're at the white, let's go ahead and do more maggots. Because we definitely want some maggots all over her neck. And these are probably going to be pretty big maggots. So we're just going to start doing a bunch of little tiny dots around here too to get some smaller maggots. And I really got to avoid that center right there because that's got paint in it. And if I touch it, it'll bleed everywhere. Oh. Do a couple little tiny dots. Make it look like the maggots are kind of... Some of them are trying to explore, looking for more wounds, you know? I don't know, I think I'm going to leave her arms alone and stuff like that. I think her legs and stuff, and this one definitely would have some feasting friends inside. Just hanging out, keeping her company in the well. There we go. That was working out quite nicely. That paint was wet, so it looks splotchy. Dag nabbit. Hey man, you have a good one. I'm gonna be finishing up here in about 13 minutes. I'm just gonna color these maggots and call it. So you have a good night, brother. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. And this should be a great maggot color. It's a nice little tan. So it's kind of like the rope up here. Except I'm not going to be doing a wash on it. So it should be lighter colored. And I should be able to pretty much just tap the maggots. And it's just going to change the color of them. I gotta get it to focus. It's so hard to paint and focus. It's a super subtle effect. It's not anything super crazy, but when you add all these little tiny details together, it really brings it out. Let's just make that a maggot. Oh well. I'll probably blue it out later, but you know. Looks good for now. The big thing is these models are just a couple inches tall, and you're not going to be seeing them from 4 feet away. But I take a lot of pride in doing the little details. Because that's the fun part. The stuff that people don't see. I need the bone painted now in her shoulder. That's difficulty focusing. And that actually works out pretty good. It added a nice little effect. Alright, now time to come in with that Nurgle paint and do a couple dots on her lips. Can I see that? Can you see that? I can barely see it. We need mower. We can actually make it dribble down our chin a little bit. Almost like it came out of her mouth. And I think I put a little too much in there. It's a little too much, but it's fine. I have a feeling that it's gonna make it look like she got sick. And that would be a good effect. Why not? Just stuff it in there a little bit. It works. Maybe I should have kept it just at her neck, but a little extra is always good. Maybe it's almost like her throat got messed up. Some grudge stuff. All right, I need to do some moss now. I've been saying I'm gonna do moss, and then I didn't do moss. We need to do moss. So we're going to do it. Just need to get this brush right here. I'm going to be using my nice little stipple brush because it works really nicely for doing patchy splotch work. And it's going to work excellent for doing some moss effects. And we don't want too much paint. We just want a little bit, just to kind of add to the effects. And I do want to tap it because I'd like to focus it in crevices and places it would grow. Like, I really like using this crack right here as a home for moss growth. So it doesn't hide the crack, but instead brings even more detail to it, or attention, I mean. And we can't forget back here. We gotta make sure we get everywhere. Definitely right here is a good spot to add some to. And I have a feeling I kind of want to do like maybe some vines trailing up. So I gotta figure out how I want to do that. Oh, there's a little too much there. That's fine. And I am gonna make it look like she has water coming down. From where she's crawling out. And I guess I could do it here too. Do a little bit of climbing action. We'll do some at the base here too. And I have some actual like plant matter that I can drape over the edges maybe, to give it that kind of like abandoned look. But I do want to be careful because I don't want to put too much in there because it could cause it to look like it's she's crawling through a wall of vines, and I'd rather not have that effect. So I am gonna have to steer a little bit. Yeah. So that's already dry. We're gonna go ahead and get, actually, let's do the handle too, because I want to do the copper oxidizing effect as well. And the best way to do that is to, I like to just pop some white on to make the effect really stand out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch those white parts later. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah. Oh man, fighting the camera. Yeah, here, I'll just put my hand there. So you can kind of see it, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to hit that with like a teal and a few colors. There's a green I'm going to throw down on there. I'm going to put some a green like this as well. And then finally I'm going to hit it with the oxidizing effect, which is going to make it stand out a lot. It's going to give that vibrant growth. And so between the greens down here and the teals up here, it's going to kind of like make the eyes wander. And that's what I want. I want, when somebody looks at the model, I want their eyes to kind of go all over and try to look at all the details all at the same time. So let's get the greens real quick, and then I'll have to wrap it up here in a second. But I do want to get that stuff down. So we're gonna go with this looks like a good green, a Gilly Dew. And then I want a darker green. So let's go with a really dark, this is an absolute green. Absolution. And then a static applicator. Hold on, let me see. Oh, like to drop grass terrain? Yeah, I don't have one. I don't use one. I just kind of do it by hand when I do it. So, unfortunately, I don't have one. Oop, I just ruined that sand. Oops. So we're going to do absolute, going into a Gilly. Oh, that's popped up. And then finally, going into the malignant. Yeah, if you're doing a lot, you can. If I really need something to kind of fan the terrain out, I typically just use a screen. I have a little filter screen that I can use, and that provides a nice little effect. It kind of gets the job done. You just put it in there and kind of give it a shake over it, and they're like $1 or $2. But I mean, you could probably buy something legitimate for about the same price that basically does the same thing. All right, we're good. yeah, I gotta hide words. I forgot it tries to focus on everything that it has words on it. So annoying. Ooh. Hide the words. There we go. Now it won't try to focus on that nonsense. 100. Oh my, that is a lot wild. You can literally just grab like. Hold on. I'll show you what I use. 1 second. You can literally just use something like this. That's what I use. You just take it, and you take the little thing that you want to put it in there. You can get like a little bag and squeeze it out or whatever you want to. And then you just sit there and shake it over wherever you want to do it. This is like freaking, I don't even know. I bought it at like my local store, and it's like maybe $5 or $6. And you can use it for a lot of stuff. How do you pull up the grass tufts? Oh, to make them like stand up, to like provide more depth. I usually just place my own little transfers. I have these. So I have a bunch of these. These aren't bad. They're like $12 for like. I straight up think I paid like $12 and got all of these. So, and I mean, you can paint these to do whatever you want. So I just literally use these. A little bit of super glue and you're done. You don't have to worry about like trying to finagle with all the little nonsense. They look more real. All you have to do is paint them the same color as everything else, and then you're rocking. Yeah, I use these for my model bases. Like for instance, let me find one of my knights. So I do a few different effects. I do the leaves for like the bases on like guys like this. Or not the leaves, sorry, the grass tufts. So it looks pretty good. A lot of my bases are kind of like the same feel. So these guys both have the same. But I'm doing it to where, depending on what biome they come from in the world, they have a different base. So this guy has, you know, more of a gray with red leaves. Since he comes from the Ashen Wastes, it provides more of like, you know, a mix of what's going on. Adds some world depth. The cloak? Oh, the one on this guy? Yeah, this was a pretty easy effect to do for this one. So the purple is just, you know, a combination of, I think, not purple alchemy. It was, I think, maybe moody mauve. Or no, you know what? I think it was a royal purple. Hold on. Actually, I don't remember. It had to have been like a combination of purple alchemy or moody mauve or something like that. And then probably a purple tone thrown in to like purple it up a bit. And then I wanted it to be more like slick looking. So I just tried to make sure I made it really thin on the edges to make it like almost like it's silk. Like I tried to give it a silk-like effect. And then on the fur itself, it's just a matter of using a reddish brown effect. I used this one for the fur. And then since I use the layering of the dry brushing, any of the lighter and higher points are going to be white, and so it's going to show up these lighter tones, while the recesses are going to show the darker tones automatically, and then the middle layer is going to show, like, you know, the middle tones. So that's why I like the speed paint so much, is you pretty much get the trifecta color going on with barely any work. So it's nice. I like saving myself time when I'm having to paint a lot of models. So try to save it wherever I can. But yeah, man, just pick up one of these, because you just shake it out and then you're done. And then you can do the tufts other ways. I mean, heck, you can literally put dollops of glue down and create tufts of hair that way. To be honest, this guy right here, a lot of these little tufts of hair he has inside here, that's hard to see, but they're sticking up like little tufts of hair. Literally all I did was put a drop of PVA glue. I did a drop of PVA glue and then just kind of like shook it onto it, and then it created like its own tuft. So that one worked out pretty well. All right, yeah, I'll have to check it out later. And I actually need a bit of a darker green than this. But this actually works out. I can always actually just put more paint and make it darker. So that's what I'll do. And now I have to be careful because I'm painting all around the base of where I'm going to be trying to hold it. I'm just going to put a few layers on this. Kind of, as I spin it around, it'll dry. And I just keep on adding more until it gets the effect that I like. And I might have to actually look and see if there's a darker green, because this one does look pretty light. And what I'm trying to do is going to need a bit more depth. And actually, I might just roll with it. Thinking about it now, I'm gonna want to do a wash on it. I don't typically wash my models unless if they're monsters, because monsters, or the washes, will cause a lot of your details on your model to fade. And I don't want that. It kind of like dirties your model up. So a lot of like those crisp lines that you're working on getting are going to go away whenever you try to do a wash. And I'm laughing because I'm actually asking for it. By putting the white down, automatically made it to where all this is going to look lighter than I intended. Just automatically. So, I asked for it. I knew what I was doing, and I did it. I just didn't think about it for longer than at all. Looks like I'm starting to hit a spot where it's not drying fast as I need it to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait. I guess we can do the back of her arm. I keep seeing it flash by. And as much as I want to have the funny situation of forgetting it entirely, I kind of want to knock it out real quick. And my red over here is nice and coagulated. So it'll add a nice dark red effect. Focus on doing lines. There we go. Perfect. She almost there. She almost there. Paint outside the lines a little bit here. Get the stuff I missed. I guess while that moss is drying, because it won't take very long, but I don't want to sit here and stare at it. I'm going to go ahead and start doing the copper. So we're going to start off with whichever one of these is darker. And it looks like it's going to be that one on the far left. So we're not going to open this one yet because that's a technical paint. And so I need something that can stipple. So we're going to go with this brush because it's a pretty decent brush. Actually, we're not going to use that one because that brush is too good. So we're going to use this trash one instead. And to stipple, we're just going to get most of the paint off. I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to completely cause it to fan out, but I'm just barely touching it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to touch this copper. And I want to provide a pretty decent coverage with this, but not covering all of it. Since this is an undertone, we want it to come out from under the other parts that we're going to have. So typically when I do my copper effects, I will do about 80% of the undertone, which what I'm doing right now, this dark color. And then I will do about 40% of the one up from that. And then I do about 20%. Focus on the thing. There we go. All right, hopefully that stays. And it's so hard to get this in a spot where you can actually see it. But thankfully, we don't really have to wait for this to dry because it doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to be touching this here. And this is just going to add like the second layer to it. And I actually went a little hard on the top, but that's okay. Perfect. And now, the best part is the last. This one we're going to be doing a lot less. And how I usually end up using something like this is it goes into the recesses and you kind of wipe it away. But there are no recesses here. It's round. And it's a super watery paint. So we're just going to grab just a little bit on the end of our brush. And I'm just going to kind of tap it in a few spots. Looks like I actually need to put a little bit more. And this dry is kind of powdery dry looking. It's hard to tell, but it, man, I need a better thing to hold up. Oh, it's focusing automatically, sorry. There we go. So it kind of has a sort of powdery texture to it almost. And when it dries, it kind of keeps that powdery effect. And you don't want it to be perfect because tarnishing isn't typically systematic. Now, the effect we used here is going to be the same effect we use for the iron and the rust, and then the band on this for the rust as well. But I'm going to cheat because I have this magic liquid, and it makes everything so easy. Now this stuff is great. Weathering FX environment. Now the problem with this is it will destroy any brush you put it in. So you want to use an already destroyed brush. I love my destroyed brushes because I can do anything with it. And I just typically like to pull out of the cap because this stuff is super bubbly and crazy. And this stuff is kind of autopilot. You can kind of just brush it on, honestly. It just kind of automatically intensifies the effect depending on how much rustiness you want, of course. I'm going to focus on anything that has a crevice or a crack or anything like that. I'm going to touch a couple of the spots that I want a little extra coverage. Get all up under here. I would rather put Oh, I gotta grab some more. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so that is done up here. It looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna come touch this bucket, and I gotta be careful because I don't want to put too much to cover up the silver underneath, because that will make it to where it no longer will look rusty. Well, that's a lie, because when I come back and put my next effect on, there's going to be no mistaking it. So now that I got that down, I have to break open some acrylic paints. And I think I might have unplugged my headset. Oh. Nope, I didn't. We're good. Okay. All right. So for rust effects, I like to run a few oranges. I do need a darker orange. Let me see if I have one still. Yeah. I'm not seeing it, so I'm gonna have to make one, which should be pretty easy. It's just gonna be a matter of mixing this orange with a little bit of black. And that should definitely give me the effect I want. And I actually have a little bit of black right here. And it looks like my wet palette's turning into a dry palette. Let's make some space over here. I got too much stuff on my desk. There we go. Better. And so now I'm just going to take a little bit of the, this is a Wild Rider red, it says, on there. And I'm creating a couple different lines because I want to kind of test it and find what I like. So I'm going to add some black right here, bring it out, and then I'm going to kind of bring some red in here until I find the color I want. And I'm almost there. It's starting to look a lot like the other brown now, so that's a little too bright. I guess I'm gonna have to use all of this. Yeah. Now that's pretty much where I want, right there. And now we're gonna put this on the model in kind of a, almost like a stroking pattern, but very, you know, kind of sporadic. Kind of catching like edges and stuff. We're gonna come back with an even brighter orange later. So this is, you know, the mid coverage. And if you can't get effects that you want with touching it with the tip, you can do this side and move it around and all kinds of stuff. You can't really do it wrong, but you don't want to put too much. Sorry, I'm keep on going off camera. Man, it needs to focus. There we go. Focus, focus. That was a little hard pressed. Trying to look through the camera so it makes it a little easier to see what I'm doing for you. But I can't see. I get this little bolt thing. Oh. I'm starting to dry up a little bit. Get a little bit of a reload. I don't want too much though. Looks like I missed a couple spots up here that I want. I mean, it looks pretty decent. I think I'm gonna call it there. This could probably use some more right there. But yeah, we'll call it there. And now I'm gonna come in with the lightest orange, and that's gonna be the actually this isn't it. This is the one I just used. This one. And this one I'm just gonna do almost like you would highlighting. I'm just gonna kind of touch in spots. And this is gonna be the smallest amount of coverage. And this should make it really, really look like rust. I don't like that. So, yeah, we're gonna use a sharper brush because that is going to provide a splotchy effect if I use that other one. All right, here we go. It's time to make this rust look like real rust. So the big thing is just trying not to make it look too round, because if it's too much of a round dot, it might look like it's fake. And it's kind of like touching into the spots that are already existing, kind of bringing out the rust tones. You do want to be sparser with this one, because if you do too much, it starts to look a little ridiculous. Like I did a little more than I should have, but you know, it's fine. We're gonna add some at the top too, because I noticed it's a little sparse up there. So just a little at this little top little edge. We're just gonna highlight this edge. There we go. That breaks it up a little bit. I like it. Now we're gonna do the bucket. And see, I touched it twice right there and it looks a little weird. So I'm gonna have to break that silhouette up a little bit. Because I don't want it to look manufactured, or I guess not random would be the better word. Or not random. Man, I'm getting tired. Painting too long. That's looking pretty great. Oh, do a little bit right there. And I think that's good. We've made some serious progress today. All right. We're doing it longer. A little bit longer, because I want to finish the moss. And I already poured the paints. So we're going to add some more colors to that. So we're just coming outside a little bit on this to add additional layer while also darkening up the others. And this is just going to kind of like add more of a coloration to it. Just kind of coloring outside the lines here. And I don't want to do all of it because I want the growths to look more natural. So they're not just going to grow everywhere exactly in the same lines. Get that right there. And a bit more to this side. Yeah, I'd have to paint that white to do it on there, so we're not going to do that just yet. I want a little bit on this stone right here. I just kind of accidentally hit it. I'm like, you know what? Let's do a little bit. Just on the flat surfaces. The flat vertical tops. There we go. And then I'm just going to come in with the lighter color now. And then it'll be the final. And this is the malignant green. And this should do the last effect. I think I'm going to have to come in and do some white first. I don't think it's going to quite work if I don't. And looking at it a bit more now that I'm stepping back, I definitely need to figure out how to... I might have to actually just pull some real grass and down on there and glue it in place. Because it doesn't look terrible, but it definitely kind of... Like, for instance, I need to do more here. Maybe we'll just grab this and see what we can do with it before I start doing some crazy stuff. Oh, I put way too much on there. And I think I thought this was going to be a little bit different, but it's too much like the previous. Maybe I just need to do it a lot lighter. Let's see. Or Maybe just touch the spots that I haven't done yet. That might work. I do need to bring this up a little bit. So that's what we'll do. I'm gonna have to bring this green up too. I got just a little bit left. Let's just bring that up. And I'm gonna need some more. This is the darkest one I'm using, the absolute green. Because I need a lot more. I'm going to repaint that down there. That's going to look a little bit better. I did a really solid effect on the side, while over here not so much. It's definitely looking a lot better now that I've come up a little higher and cleaned up some of the missing spots that didn't make sense. So, starting to get to a spot where I can't really paint much because it's going to start bleeding together. Where is, I got this one, oh, the ghillie green. So this is the mid-tone that I'm using. The shade in the betweens. And that's making it look really, really good. When I come back later, I'm going to do vines down the side. I'm going to do a lot more like adding of random pieces. Because I've got a bunch of flocking stuff and just a lot of stuff I want to play with. And it'd be a shame not to use it on this really disgusting well. I think I made it a little too disgusting, maybe. I think since I did that, I think I might have to do some liberties. That's scary. That's less scary. That's too scary. We'll just do this. Man, I want to goop that up, but I don't at the same time. Maybe just a little bit. It's a very gross well. Very, very gross well. Part of me wanted to put some of this in the bucket to make it like they pulled some grossness out. I can't do that. Let's use this one. Almost like the last people that tried to pull out some stuff got a little bit more than they asked for. And since this is the front part right here, we're gonna bring this down this side right here. I have a lot on my brush because I'm going to just kind of pull it down. And I'm going to make it thinner and thinner. There we go. That's a nice little effect right there. And I might have to fill this with hot glue later, but it looks fine. It looks fine. Alright, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this right here. I painted it a long time ago, and all it needs is some wooden brown color. Wherever that is in this mess I have on my desk. Bronze. Dark wood. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and touch up the rest of the wood while I'm here, because I want the wood to be done. And I got to be careful because anything I paint, I have to paint everything pretty much. Actually, I'm just going to give it all a little coat. It looks a little faint in some spots. Giving it a little bit of a color refresh will allow me to come back and finish those ropes, because the ropes need a little bit more sand color. Forgot which way I came. This way? Did I come? Yeah, I started over here and went this way. Okay. It dried so fast. I looked up and it's all dried. Sorry, I keep going off of the camera. It's so hard to get all invested and then focus. Next thing you know, I'm 5 feet to the right. Alrighty, I think that's pretty decent. Gotta say, I'm gonna take a little picture of it and put it up there. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone. I really appreciate your company. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will be streaming again on probably Sunday. Adios.